Hello and welcome back to the studio here in Northumberland on a beautiful day, it has to be said. Today I'm doing watercolour pencils, and as you can see, this is not a very big painting and it's a very quick and easy one, but it's a little picture that's going to be packed with techniques. So if you're into watercolour pencils or you fancy having a go with them, this is the one to watch. You've seen my sketchbooks, watercolour pencils, quite a few times, and they're a lovely little memory, really, but you can use them to make full-blown paintings afterwards. You can use these as your reference and you've got all your colours, or you can just have them as a lovely memory, little bits and pieces. And these are done in hardback sketchbooks, double page spread there. But they're so lovely to work with, and it's something similar to this that I'm going to do today, because it's about hills. That's a nice one. But you just sit there and you've got a little memory of wherever you were that day. I love hardback sketchbooks and I love watercolour pencils. But for today, I'm doing them on watercolour pencil so that I can have it up on my easel. And as I said, it's not a very big picture, but lots and lots of different things in it. And, excuse me, I've done this painting before. It's a hilly scene with a bit of a loch or a lake in front of it. And I've done it in watercolours, and that's very easy. But you want to think about doing something like that in watercolour pencils. And what I've got here is my tin of 24. These are Lyra watercolour pencils, lovely watercolour pencils. Good strong pigments even. And these are the colours. I've got out the colours that I'm going to use here. And what I'm going to do before I do any painting, well, as near as painting as we get, I'm just going to draw. Very, very simple. I'm just going to draw the whole thing. And what I've got here, black. I know I don't use black in watercolours, and I don't use it in acrylics either. But in a pencil, you're fine because you can press on really lightly. What I've got here, just an outline drawing. And there. And there's the lake, the line where my water starts. Got another one further away there. And a bigger one there, nearer. There. And you can just, if you're out on location, just be sitting in front of here with a sketchbook on your lap and a tin of pencils, and that's all you need. You don't even need water, because you can wet it and make it into a painting when you get home. That's my outline drawing done, and I finish with the black. So what I'm going to do to start with, I've got gold ochre. Is it gold ochre? Yeah, gold ochre. There's some funny names in this one. Bit of that. And like I said, I'm just drawing. Colouring in. It's like a kid's colouring in book. Bit of that. A little bit of that here as well. Just going up to my pencil mark, because of course this pencil mark that I've done, as soon as I wet it, it will disappear. So yeah, you're not having pencil marks that you don't want. Now I should have a little bit more of that down here. Now I've got a little bit of, what's that one called, Gail? I can't read it, I haven't got my glasses on. Sap green.
Sap green.
Bit of sap green. Put some of that in there as well. And again, just colouring in up here. Here and there, look, I'm bringing the hill down, like so. Few lines to shape the hill a bit more. Don't just have it all going in one direction. Have some shape to your hills. And over there, I'll have a little bit of Prussian blue. For that distant one. And now I've got a little bit of, I think that's Indian red, isn't it? No, Venetian red. Nice. It's nice anyway. Bit of that. I think they have people in offices that sit and think up silly names for colours. Don't want too much of that. And the other thing about watercolour pencils is if you want a stronger, darker colour, press on harder. If you don't want it so strong and dark, press on lightly. Now I have a little bit of a darker green. Which one's this? That's the second one again. Moss green, that one. Brings it a little bit closer. And notice, look, I'm pressing on harder here with my pencil. That way, once I wet it, I'm going to get a stronger, darker colour. In amongst there, or some Van Dyke Brown. And a little bit of Prussian blue again. Sorry, wrong one. Bit of Prussian blue there. And it's got to that stage now that it looks like a scrappy mess. It'll be fine, he said, hopefully. Back to my Venetian red, and have a little bit of that just there. And all you've got to do is think about, always think ahead. When I wet this, the colours are going to merge. So think about the colour that you're going to get afterwards. And a little bit of, no, I don't want that one yet. The night green it's called. I suppose really I should put my glasses on, shouldn't I? Put my glasses on. I'm like a senile old man talking to myself here. That's better, I can see. Look, there, that's the one. Night green, which is a very, very dark green. Look at that. But it's got a fairly heavy blue content, that. Bit of that down here. And the base of there, where it's going to come down to the water. And I just want to go a little bit stronger and darker with green on that as well. And that one's my sap green again. Remember that. And a little bit of that Venetian red at the bottom there. Somebody said on feedback on YouTube yesterday, or this morning or whatever, some of the best camera work I've seen in a watercolour demonstration. I didn't tell Gail because otherwise it just wouldn't be worth living really. Now, that's more or less done. Now for the magic. And this is the fun bit. I'll just get rid of that for the time being. And I need my Prussian blue. Now when you're doing a sky wash in watercolour pencils, quite often you'll colour it in. And then when you wet it, you're going to have lines showing through. The best way to do your sky wash in watercolour pencils is to get the blue that you want, take the paint off the pencil. I'm not pre-wetting the paper. I'm just going straight in, plenty of paint off that pencil and paint it on. and more. And I'm using my 3/4 inch aquafine brush for this. More. And then afterwards, when I finish with this, I mean, this pencil's been on the go for about a year now. When I finish with it, I'll just wipe it dry and it's ready to draw with again. So you're not going to damage them. Now, kind of carefully up to that pencil mark there. There. Now, if I wanted some clouds in that, wash my brush out, squeeze out, and suck a few bits out. And again, just mop that up. Another one here. All I'm doing is sucking paint out with a clean damp brush. Wash out, squeeze out, mop up there. There, a very, very simple sky wash. And the other thing is now, I don't even have to wait for that to dry. All I will do though, if I just wipe this out, like so, there, that pencil's now ready for drawing with again. No problem. I forgot to put my swap on today. Now, clean wet brush, stroke these colours together. This is the magic of it. All I'm doing is making colour on the paper. All the colours merging together, giving me a lovely hilly type of colour. Hilly type colour. That's a technical term for you. See how simple this is? It really is easy. And the thing is, like I said, you can just sit there on location, do a drawing. You don't even need to have any water on you. Because when you get home, you can wet it then. In actual fact, you can come back about 5 years later and wet it. It'll still turn into a painting. There, just going up that line there. Sharp edge there. And bring that down. It really is magic when you put the water on. I love them. When you're wet. And that hill now is a lot further away. And now this one. And this one, of course, is going to come out a lot darker than those. Now, here's a little tip for you. That wet paint there, if I just drag that downwards there, I've got the start of my reflection. A bit more paint there. Just move it around. While it's still wet, just move it around. Because once this is wet, it's just like normal watercolours. Starting my reflection now. Pick it up again. A little bit of that there. So easy. Now, what I'm going to do now is another technique. I've done all the wetting there on the hillside. That's just a simple drawing and then wet it. So now I want to get my Prussian blue again and a little bit of, what's this one called? Dark carmine. It's a red. So what I'm doing, I've made colours on there by drawing on, then wetting, and I've made a colour on the paper. Now I'm going to make a colour on the brush. So I'm getting my blue, Prussian blue, and a bit of that carmine red, and I want to get some shadow in between the hills. Pop that on now, like so. See? It's fairly dark, but it's warm because I've got that red in it. A few bits there. And it's just a few bits of bumpiness in the hillside. A few bits of bumpiness. And tuck it behind there. And again, look, I'm going to mix that again. Bit there, bit there. A few bits at the bottom. And a few bits of bumpiness in that one as well. And now we'll have some of that mixing again. Getting the paint off, mixing on the brush. And some of that in there as well. Oh, I like that. Nice dark and rich. Wash out, squeeze out, and I'll just soften that. Now I just want those to dry totally for about 2 minutes. I'll just leave it for 2 minutes. Now, it's dried lovely now, already. And what I'm going to do now, like I did the mixing of the shadow colour on the brush, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the mixing of the water on the brush as well. So I've got my Prussian blue again, because that's the same blue as the sky, and sap green. What I'm doing, get my blue first, get plenty of that on there, then a bit of sap green, wash it through, a bit more, a bit stronger. Get a bit more paint on there, Evans. That's better. Going through the reflections. Bit more paint. Took it round the corner there. All with a 3/4 inch brush, look. I love my 3/4 inch brushes. And again, a bit more paint. And I'll just have a blue, just blue this time, across there. And carefully up to the base of the hills there. And start bringing a bit of that down. If I wanted some light on there, just wash out, squeeze out. Take out a little bit there. See, slightly lighter, much better. And there we go, picture done. If I wanted a seagull or a buzzard or something like that, you don't even need to wet this. I'll just have a little tick in the sky there. There. Now if I take my tape off there, got a ready-made little picture. There we go. Ready-made little picture, like I said. So simple. But if you're just out there on location, you're travelling out in the car or whatever, just do a quick drawing in your sketchbook, hardback sketchbook or your watercolour pad. Come back and days later you can wet it and make it into a little picture. They're instant memories, much better than clicking a camera, I think, because you remember every brush stroke when you were there doing it. The pencils that I've been using, Lyra, Dale O'Rowney, part of the Dale O'Rowney group. They come in 24s, which is what I use, and as you can see, as you would expect, everything that I use is messy, but they're well used now. But you can also get a tin of 12. We sell them on the website. Very good pencils, good strong pigment. I love them, and very nice tins as well. With the paper I've just used there is the Langton Rough pad of paper. We sell them in A4 and A3 pads. Very nice paper, that. And there's lots of tips and techniques in this one. It's not really watercolour pencils, this one, but it's watercolours, and everything that I use you can do in the same way. It shows you how to do the trees and all that kind of stuff. Very handy little book, that one, full of tips and techniques. And we've got the hardback sketchbooks, Ebony, which are lovely, nice hardback, but they're lovely acid-free paper, cartridge paper. Beautiful books, those. And you can work those just exactly the same as I've done there. And you can put plenty of water on them. They might cockle a little bit when you first do it, but as soon as it dries out, it'll be absolutely fine. Lovely books, those. Nice hardback sketchbooks. Mine started off like that before the covers dropped off after about 20 years. Nice books. The brushes I'm using, again, as ever, but I only use 2 brushes in this one. Did I use 2 or did I just use 1? I did use 1. 3/4 inch flat, number 8 round. Aquafine brushes, they're just fabulous. I use them for everything, watercolours, acrylics, the lot. Everything's on the website, all at very, very good prices, charlesevans.com. If you're on Twitter, keep following me on Twitter, because every time I do a painting in the studio here, I put them on stage by stage. If you're not on Twitter, then get on it and follow me. Lovely to see you. See you again soon. Bye bye.